Yeah,
family banks with the gold in it. I found that. I know where that's at.
we done seized all that
Y'all
shit.
playing games.
Now all they gotta get through their thick numbskulls is that's our shit. Been our shit. Our parents just didn't have the knowledge base to go in and get it because they killed off all our teachers.
I mean, the Moors. I mean, why? It's so many of us that we could be doing teams of shit. It ain't even funny. But I understand he has it. We know that it's in that mountain in Kansas.
Well, it's rules to hierarchy in the clans, just like it's a hierarchy of government, right? So the one of us that become aware is responsible by default. He have to inform the clansmen of what the discovery is. So that's what I've been doing. So all my campaign has been to inform the rest of the clans. This is what's going on, man. This is why this shit ain't working for us, and this is why we catching hell. Once I tell the clans what I discovered, then I got to find the solution to the problem. Somewhere in the written record, there's what you call a jump key. The jump key is the transfer government key. This was the Indigenous Rights Act that I posted. Because that's the jump key. Because under continuity of government in the fall of America, that automatically everything reverts back to tribal structure, and we do this orally in the open. We don't do no secret squirrel shit. Since the secret squirrel shit is what got us fucked up. The problem is our people now don't want to hear shit from us. We only want to hear it from the.
They waiting for the media to say, "Hey, we're at war with you," or "You're free," or "Here's how you here's where you can pick your check up at."
That kind of shit. So by keeping you struggling in poverty, you can't you can't be, your stomach can't be full enough long enough in order for you to be able to think. Analyzing the conditions and the problem.
We too busy trying to make money off each other, and we only in the drop bottom percentage of the world. It's finance, the way these motherfuckers been scheming off of these nonprofit.
So here's the thing that they're not getting. So when Noble Drew Ali came and he said, I'm going to leave them in power long enough for y'all to run the government. What was the conditions? They had them browbeat us down so bad, we couldn't sustain ourselves. We was too stupid. We stupider now about self-preservation than we was back then, but we are intellectually smarter now than we were back then.
Say that again. Rewind. Whoop, 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 whoop. Do it again.
Yeah, so now we more intellectually smart, but we dumber about who we are and our customs and tradition. Now
we repping that stuff, but we don't really know how we actually lived and conducted ourselves back then. Yeah. We in love with the image of ourselves, but not how we operated.
Now you put the mummy up on Instagram with the tattoos. Go back and look at Mexican indigenous art. All these motherfuckers' faces is tattooed up. Polynesians tattooed up. They told us, this is the story they told us, that from watching the motherfuckers in the Polynesians, they learned how to tattoo and came up here and created tattooing in the 1950s. So some pale-skinned motherfucker supposed to invented tattooing now in the 1950s. But we've been had that shit on our faces like Mike Tyson for the longest. Right? Now, what we be talking about, we woke, right? Now pay attention to this woke. We woke, right? That's what we be saying, right? We woke. I'm conscious. I know who I am, right? And the girl come on with weave, and he want to talk about her. Do you know where weave came from? Us. Look, we use all kind of adornments, gold, and sometimes you would use the hair in order just to weave the gold flake into the hair, into the dreads. The braids look like dreads. Some of us wanted the hair straight. But what we don't realize is it's some black motherfuckers with straight hair. Some purple motherfuckers. They look like grapes. They so dark. With straight hair. So now they gonna tell us to start making some kind of distinction between us and them because their hair straight and ours is like this. Like lamb's wool. Right? That's not gonna work for me. See, my nephew got straight hair, and he a little darker than me, maybe the same complexion.
It's like if y'all don't look at your own family and see the shades, and even within your brothers and sisters, sometimes it's like a luck of the draw sometimes the way this DNA, if you know the biology, dominant recessive genes, and then mama, daddy, and then add that up, that math part, that biology part that people slept on, this shit, yeah. So you can't sit here and just cookie cut like somebody gotta look a certain way to be accepted in whatever we doing. And we now seeing
Dana Carvey, that's who I was talking about. She got it. I just seen it. Dana Carvey, that's who played in Master of Disguise. He pretty good too. But that's who wear the Hillary mask. Right, but look, so we go back to that time, and when you look at the conditions,
you'll be there 7. Mini-me.
Now look, I'm seeing all of our traditions playing out in front of me, but I'm not seeing us capitalizing or controlling any of it.
So can you teach us?
What you mean?
Or educate us on the past? Some of us really don't. We honestly, it's not that we don't want to know how we used to be.
Well, yeah.
How do we getting out the matrix?
Right.
But we don't know what we're going into.
Right. So you look to the past in order to try to see the future. We did not mix our life up like they do it now. Right? People.
What do you mean?
So now they want everybody to move to the city. Everybody wasn't supposed to live in the city. Some people supposed to live out in the sticks, on the plains, in the gullies, right? So they made artificial replicas of all that shit in their cities to deceive us into piling up on each other to match their motherfucking experiments. Right? You got small tribes that might only have 20 people. They got their own functioning rule system. All of the rest of the tribes respect that. Right? Then you got other tribes in the general vicinity that's similar. They make a tribal confederation between them, a pact, an agreement to not disrespect each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And from that, they have functioning festivals or festivities, commemorations at the harvest festival, right? And the solstice festivals. These are times when all of the clans have reunions to reinforce the bonds of the clans, right?
To talk issues or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So corn, we developed corn, and corn is from selective breeding. It's not a GMO. Anyway, so corn became corn in order for us to commemorate our carbon essence. Corn and our carbon footprint is the exact same carbon. So we can have a link to the earth through the vegetation that we eat. This is why we even eat corn and popcorn. Right? So they try to tell you some brother invented popcorn in the early 1900s. We used to pop baskets of corn, colorful popcorn. We didn't have just one color. We used to pop,
Yeah.
and the corn had from different parts of the land had different types of popcorn. And we just have a contest. Who got the best tasting popcorn? So this day we having a popcorn festival. Right? And the corn became synonymous with our harvest festivals all across the land, north, south, east, west, top and bottom. So everywhere.
In other continents.
Right.
Right.
So this is before it even spread over there. That was our shit. Right.
I know, but it's evidence of corn everywhere. So you can't just say it was just here.
Well,
we know
I'm talking about its original development, why it was developed, right, and how it began to evolve within our culture. Right? So soul food, 90% of soul food is Irish. And the Irish brought the collard greens, the turnip greens. We ate dandelion greens. You know,
which we all need to start.
Our greens was different than their greens. You know, but
we did trade overseas. Yep.
Yep. So what ended up happening to making soul food, it ain't soul food until somebody that love everybody they cooking for cooking it.
Hello.
Because that's what.
Speaking of that.
That's what infuses the food with that undeniable taste that people come from all over the land to taste.
Still soliciting caterers, party planners for our cookout.
Yeah, so the mother that goes in the kitchen hating the fact that she got to cook for these little badass kids is not going to put the same essence in it as the mother that go in there and say, I love my kids, I got to make sure they eat.
Mm-hmm.
See, the energy is different.
I even seen something in Alaska. It'd be like 20 people in one house. They all on the floor and they all preparing, eating. Everybody's going to eat.
Yep.
Everybody's going to eat. And that one thing that I don't have a beef with Thanksgiving or Harvest Festival, but the thing with us, we could be more thankful if we actually grew the food that we actually ate for the harvest and made and prepared. That would make more sense. Or raise the animals and turkeys and things like that.
So now you talking energy. Listen, so now you taking the industrialization out of our food, which it need to be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's the industrialization that's growing food, the shit that chickens with no beaks. How the fuck you got a chicken with no beak? You know what I'm saying? Living in a box. Look, that's another staple because fried chicken was our bag of chips back in the day. That's what we like. We go over Big Mama house. She goes, and they probably still do it in New Orleans. I gotta ask Will because I ain't had a chance to holler at Will Kapoor in a minute. But in the old South, New Orleans, Mississippi, when you go over Big Mama house, or you go over Aunt Betty house, on the countertop in the kitchen, they used to keep a fresh thing of fried chicken for the visitors and for the kids. And right next to it, they keep a big bowl of either corn on the cob, and then it had the husk of the corn to be the handle. right? And if it's summertime, they're gonna have watermelon cut up, right? This was our bag of chips. This was our little Debbie's, and it became comfort food. When you go to Big Mama house, she gonna give you a plate with a piece of chicken, a piece of cornbread, and a corn on the cob. Here, baby, eat this.
I will say I've been overseas a lot. Portugal, Dominican Republic. You go to anybody's house, a lot of times it'll be a different bird, might be pigeon or something, but birds are what we eat no matter where we are. I hate to, it's not always, we're not always vegans and stuff like that, but it's always a hospitable type of environment when you got invited to people's houses and they prepared fresh meals for you. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, y'all should have rolled up for this.
yeah. So the mothers cooked daily. That's why you have housewives and don't go to work. Right? Because she not only do she got the children that's hers, her sister that's going to work dropping them all hers off there too. And her niece and a couple of her cousins. So she gonna cook in army pots.
I mean, I can use other examples, even up to, I'll say 100, 200 years ago in South Carolina and Promised Land. It was only like 100 families. Somebody was the teacher. Somebody was, watched the kids. Somebody did the actual business banking for the whole community. Everybody had roles. There was a pastor. There was somebody that knew medicine. So, and some people are cross-trained. And that also works in so many other places I've been to in other communities on how we had certain people in our area doing certain things for the whole. And the pygmies, when they would go out into the village, they all went to eat, gather, hunt, and they prepared, they danced, told stories, they went to sleep, and they did it again.
Yep. So you got different tribes have different functions. Right? Normally you see the guys that pick up the scrap metal, they gorillas. Right? This is because working with that metal form your body strong and firm. So the iron workers, the Oguns, is the ones that work.
Blacksmithing.
So now we ain't blacksmithing. You know what I'm saying? We scrap metaling now because it's a whole different cultural development. So we just
some people need to see that change. Like, we're still doing the same shit. It's just in the 2020 mindset. Look at our hair. Look at certain things. We're still doing our culture, but we need to take it a step further in how to be self-sufficient and get off the government matrix tit.
Right. So that's that takes us back to the structure of the matriarchy. Because people don't understand with this patriarchal democratic republic bullshit they've been following. The matriarchy is intimidating to a lot of people because they think it just means, here, get a woman to control.
Well, first, it wasn't, and we're saying it's not even like that because it's really the head of the household.
This is the difference. And under the patriarchal culture we're under now, you have expendable people. Human life is of a low value. It's expendable. In the matriarchal culture, everybody ain't nobody born that don't got a reason. Good, bad, or indifferent. Ain't nobody born that don't got a reason, or else they wouldn't be here. Right? So now, under patriarchy, we don't care about finding a reason they here. You just take your ass to school and get one of the boss's jobs. You hear me? Be a good nigga. And then when you rebel against the system, that's something wrong with that boy. That nigga just sure won't act right.
Either put you in jail, put you in a mental hospital. Something wrong with you.
or force you to fuck somebody up for telling the truth. The worst thing you tell a motherfucker is the truth. Right? So we begin to go back to our culture and follow our ways. And the first thing we got to realize is anybody on this land, we have to study what they doing if we got to get them off. Some people been absorbed into the clans, blessed in, all skin colors across the land. But all
He
those
said, "Where's Marcus Garvey? He's blowing. Marcus Garvey, you seen the water lately?